We get to relive Gumiho's all kill, and we get to talk to Cyan, that best crayon in the box, all here on Inside the Scene. Kick it to the intro. All right, hello, ladies and germs, pylons, drones, and all those good things. Welcome to Inside the Scene. I'm your host, Drekken, and welcome back, my number one co-host, Insurmountable, Endisword. You're back.
How's it going? I am back.
You're back. How was your trip?
I was pretty good. I played a lot of poker, went to a few DEF CON things in Vegas.
DEF CON?
Pretty enlightening. DEF CON is the hacker conference.
Oh my God.
In Vegas. So two friends of mine who you know, but the audience probably doesn't, were more interested in that than me, but I went to a few of the events anyway, and there was nice people around and fun things to do. In order to go to an exclusive after party, you had to solve like a cryptography-based puzzle that they gave you. And we did, but it took
for DEF CON?
Yeah,
really?
For DEF CON.
Oh,
yeah,
that's so intense.
It was pretty intense. It took multiple days to solve. Like you would solve one part, and it would lead you to like a website with more clues, and then to this thing, and then you had to go and like track down the actual person in the city.
That is like the most cleverest after party. Like I imagine some people just gave up now. Like some people are
like there. I think they said there's like 20,000-ish people in attendance for the con, and there are maybe 200 at the after party.
That's kind of cool, because then you realize like if you're at the after party, you're like, yeah, I'm pretty
you're
smart.
Pretty sweet. You're pretty cool.
Yeah, I'm pretty cool. I figured out the after party, or I knew somebody who knew somebody who's
That's
dope.
it. You're encouraged to work in teams, but yeah, basically.
Yeah,
basically we're pretty cool.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah. Did you do a lot of gambling?
Definitely. I played a lot of poker, won a couple tournaments from season.
Oh, you like did you win a lot of money, or like?
I won enough to pay for the trip and everything.
Oh, then that's
and then a little bit.
And that's like the best. That's the best. You totally. What is that? It's like a token, like a.
It's, they give you when you win one at the Caesar's Palace. They give you a. They call it a medallion, but it says on the back like Caesar's Palace tournament winner.
Esports tournaments should start doing that. Like if you win like one of the StarCraft online tournaments, you should totally get like
something like that.
Like digital trophies, nice, but I like something comes in the mail for me.
Oh, that would be good too. Some people I know have started doing like the rings. There's a company that's like trying to start being like Jostens, but for esports specifically, that is trying to sell like.
I saw some on Smash. I think Smash guys have that kind of stuff, and I was like, we totally should have championship rings in StarCraft.
Definitely.
All right, make that a note, Dave, for Kings of North. Rings, and you have to kiss the ring of the person who wins. That's like, that's it. Like all of the players have to kiss the ring every time. You have to hail the king by kissing the ring. That's how it works from now on.
Makes sense. It definitely makes sense for anything king based.
All right, peoples. So remember, hopefully Tara remembered to do our StarCraft challenge. Only have part one, but here we go. We're gonna start with the question of the day. Actually, Dave, why don't you read us our question of the day?
So the question today is, what is the worst BM that you've ever received in game?
The worst. What is your worst BM? Like, what is the worst BM you've ever received in game?
Mine, I think, even transcends game. So it started in a game. There was someone that like recognized my name. It turns out he was friends with like Henderlisk, apparently. This is way back, like in the early days. He recognized my name. We were playing. He muted me or something, and I was able to defend, come back, and kill him with a bunch of Archons. and he just lost it.
Oh my God.
He was like very, very upset. And then we ended up hitting each other on ladder like another couple times over the next like couple weeks or something. And then he started, back then I still like streamed a little bit and I was doing more casting and stuff. Anytime I was on anything, he would show up in chat and start like just saying whatever, bad mouthing me or anything. And then he was finding ways to like tweet at me or email me or whatever. He was just very, very mad.
So you just like pretty much like trolled you and harassed you everywhere you went.
Yeah, exactly. Just because of a few ladder games.
I think for me, I'm trying to think of the worst BM I've ever received in game. A lot of it's always just telling me that I'm bad, but like I knew that, so I don't know if that's really bad BM. Maybe I think the worst BM would probably be, I think it was maybe at a LAN, and I love DT, so I do DTs, and then someone just like to show me up just did the DT strategy better than me, and then told me this is how you do it. So nice. I guess that's kind of like I'll put that as my worst BM.
That's pretty good. LAN BM is better. The very first, I think I've told you this before, but the very first live tournament that I played at, my very first opponent was Combat X.
Yes.
And
yes.
then his BM statement to me, he's in good shape, but he's a little guy. He shouted across the room, "I'm going to beat you in game as bad as you would beat me in real life." And like, is that even like it's BM in game, but it's like acknowledging that
you would actually beat him up.
Yeah, that we shouldn't be aggressive like afterwards. He was really nice after the games, but he did cannon rush me twice.
Combat X is one of those, I think, misunderstood people.
He is nice. Yeah. To anyone, he's almost like the anti Velo, where his in-game persona literally is his in-game persona. He's actually fine in person.
Yeah. Wasif was his name, if I remember correctly. He was he was pretty cool, and I remember he would always talk about like going to school and all that stuff. I remember that was like a very common discussion after. I think one of the first tournaments I ever ran had him in it. I had the poster loaded up with Hendulus, Tubby the Fat, DDE, Eggy, and Rise were like the players in it. So great, guys. So make sure you let us know what your worst BM is in chat. And Dave and I can go through some of them and read out some of the funniest ones. But before we do that, we got a little treat for you, because I listened to some feedback regarding this StarCraft challenge, and let's see if you guys can figure this out. Roll the clip, Tara. All right, so we survived the clip. Woo, StarCraft challenge. All right, did you guess though? Not you, obviously, Dave. You'll know the answer, and you can't get away. We'll give the answer at the end of the show. But if you know the answer, feel free to drop in the chat. If any of you survived our technical difficulties.
Yeah.
But
3 attempts.
3 attempts, but on attempt number 3,
we got there.
We got there finally on attempt number 3. Man, whew, I survived. But yeah, that's the StarCraft challenge. Let's see if you can figure out who that player was. It was a player, yes, it was.
I bet they can.
You think so? You think they'll be able to figure it out?
Oh, yeah.
I don't know. I think it's kind of hard for like unless you're an OG, you probably wouldn't do.
I assume that everyone watching us is an OG. Like we don't no halfway fans in here.
Only the OGs.
Maybe.
Only the OGs.
Maybe we got some. I never really think of that, but like there are a lot of like new free-to-players and stuff that don't know these things.
So yeah, that was like, for me, that was one of the important things with doing the show is that, we're on TL. That a lot of people who come into the scene because of free to play would not know anything about, the past of StarCraft or what's going on, who's who should they be following, who's like aside from obviously like Artosis and Tasteless and the obviously mega stars of StarCraft. Who else is there? Like, who else does what, and what are they doing, and why should you care, right? And that's, I think, one of the key aspects of the show that I want to hammer in is that you're going to learn, hopefully through our interviews and through our segments, all the ins and outs of what's going on in the scene. So, I'm hoping a lot of our new people and hopefully viewers are going to get a little bit of an update. So, why don't you kick us into our next segment that hopefully will survive?
Is it going to be the back in the day segment?
Yeah.
Are we going to try that and see?
We're going to do it. We're going to
All right. All right.
Welcome to the GSL Team League Finals here in Busan at Haven Bay Beach. I am Wolf, and with me is Caldor. Are you ready for these finals, man?
I am so ready. We are here at the beach, and it is awesome, guys. Busan, I love it. Great game that we have in our opening match at the GSTL today. The GSTL finals with Slayers versus FXO, and not a single one of these players is giving an inch.
No, they certainly aren't, man. Gumiho versus MMA. If this game is our first game, I can't even imagine what the rest of this series is going to look like.
Go hard or go home, definitely the motto of today's matches. And here comes zero supply. Zero supply. There is nothing left for Min but to type GG!
FX Open taking a 2-game lead. Gumiho showing it there on his fingers, man. V for victory and 2 for 2-0.
The Towel Talon, he delivers. He delivers for sure today. This is crazy. Slayers is down 2 games.
I was muted. So was that Caldor casting?
Yeah. Good times back then.
I actually thought it was Artosis. I legit thought it was Artosis. I thought it was Artosis, but that's my folly.
Not for the teams. And that was like an ultra all kill because most all kills are 4-0. That was 5-0.
Was that one of the was that one of the only 5-alls? Like, I feel like I'd never found another 5-all in my research.
I think so, because I think that league, chat can correct me if I'm wrong, I think the league was usually 4-0, but it was longer because that was the championship.
Yeah.
Or something like that, was it? Because
Marine King.
I'm thinking of what's his name, QXC, when he all killed, wasn't it a 4-0? But maybe that was it was the 5 as well. I don't know what I'm talking about that.
So Gumiho was one of the first all kill, 5-all kills on the final.
Yeah.
You know what I love about Korea is those stages are so wild.
Yeah.
Like, I hope we get to that point again, and that was 2012. So we get to that point again where we're like outside Busan level, all outside stage. And the thing is, I have mixed feelings about outside stages because on one hand, Korea makes outside stages look amazing. We in Toronto recently had an outside stage event, and I wasn't super happy about that.
Well, it also was thunder and lightning all 3 days. So it wasn't the best idea in the world, but we still, even with that, we got through it.
But here's the thing, though. I like outside stages. I'm a fan of like the outside and like being in like, almost beach weather and watching StarCraft kind of thing.
Yeah.
But obviously rain makes it for a problem you would never have to deal with inside an inside venue. Yeah. So there's that.
But if you're not outside, then no one can run into the ocean. And that's the big key to being outside. Is that
a thing? Did that happen? Like, yeah, I hope
Firebat Hero. So anyone out there that doesn't know from the Brood War days, Google Firebat Hero ceremony.
Did he run into the sea? Is that
if I remember the order of events, he got out of the booth, did a little dance, ate like some sort of rice pop and then ran into took his clothes off and ran into the ocean.
And they say Koreans don't have any flair.
He did. Firebat hero
is truly a hero. All right, so before we jump into our main guest, I'm gonna hope this part works. I'm gonna cross my fingers. Do we have our ad spot? Oh, whew. All right. So our elaborate show, OBS crashes and all, is brought to you by the ESChamp Insider Club. Essentially, this is just like, a lot of our events and a lot of the production that we produce comes from your generous support of being a part of the club, and gets you eventually, hopefully, some stuff for our live events, but get you access to the Discord and some behind the scenes stuff of how we make the show. And sometime after our show, we usually record a couple of videos still, and you get to see all the warts without crashes, hopefully, of behind the scenes with us talking. So we get some perks from there. So you can go to eschamp.com/join. Takes you straight to the Patreon. You go to Patreon, either way, takes you there and helps build us shows and better events. So, all right. You ready, Dave?
I'm totally ready, and I'm pretty sure Cyan's been ready for a while.
All right, so let's introduce our guest, the one, the only esports freelance journalist, who will explain what that means, I'm sure, in a second. The one and only person who is not the other Cyan, but this Cyan. Cyan, welcome to the show.
Hello. Thank you for having me.
Welcome, Cyan. So actually, is it, I always say it wrong, and I know it, is it Padrick or Podrick?
It is Padrick, but I believe, having said that, I'm pretty sure that the actual Gaelic pronunciation.
Padrick?
No, it's Padraig.
Padraig.
That's not how I pronounce it. So yeah.
Probably should switch that one. I like that one. That's sounds like you should be a Viking
warrior. I feel pretty
Yeah.
committed at this point. I'm not gonna lie. I feel like
it's your name. Yeah, you feel like you're. Well, I don't know. Go with it.
I've gone so down this path already. To just rework the whole thing. It's a lot of effort.
So how is it
Padrick?
No, but
like Patrick.
No. Say the Gaelic one. Say the Gaelic one.
Padraig. But I don't know that for a fact, right? I don't actually speak Gaelic. I think that is what it is, though.
So Padraig, the fearful, and Padraig.
It actually means killer? Prince, or of royal descent, I think. Yeah.
That's like the symbol, right? Formerly known as.
No. I don't think they had that in ancient Ireland.
The esports journalist formerly known as Padraig.
No, probably not. Maybe. Who knows?
So welcome to our humble show. You are an esports journalist / content creator.
That is the Twitter bio. That's correct.
What does that mean? In terms of being a journalist and a content creator? Are they not one and the same, or do you see them separate?
Yeah, I see them kind of separate. Having the journalism tag in there, I think it lends me some credence to my position a little bit. And the journalism aspect of things encompasses all of the interviews, and if I have a news story, and then a lot of the features that I do as well in terms of written content. Whereas content creation is obviously just streams. If I have a video essay that I do, if I do a meme video, if I do just a meme image or whatever, right? Content creation catches everything that journalism does not, pretty much.
Makes sense.
Yeah. Although I lean more towards the content creation side of things, to be totally clear.
So less journalists, more content?
Yeah, I think that more of what I do falls under the umbrella of content creation as opposed to journalism. But probably my most successful stuff has fallen under the journalism side of things.
I saw that very recently you've done an article on StarCraft Esports for, if I remember, what was it? Mind Game Moves?
Oh yeah, I've done a lot this year actually for the official WCS website as a freelancer. I did it was mid-game moves, I believe. Yeah, I did 3 of the 4 of those, and I've been doing a lot of kind of like wrap-up / preview coverage for Challenger, and then like a little bit of GSL. It's been pretty good. I'm very lucky to have that opportunity.
So that means would you consider that more journalism or content creation then?
That one's a tough one, I gotta say. It is writing, but yeah, I think I'd probably consider that. I don't know. There's this like line of writing, that's not quite news posting. It's like, like wrap ups and previews and stuff like that, feature posting like that. It is journalism, I guess, but I don't know. It's really rough.
Yeah, I think it's journalism, just not like investigative.
Right. Yeah.
It's not like slasher journalism.
So you're not like you're not breaking into Blizzard's headquarters and stealing us like co-op commander secrets.
Yes, exactly.
So, it's a good place to be. I think, and we do need more and more of that. I feel like a lot of that has kind of like dwindled away over time. So it's good to see you and a couple others kind of reemerging with a little bit of that stuff.
Well, thank you for saying so. I'm really, really, really fortunate to have an opportunity to do any work at all with like the actual Blizzard, websites.
Yeah.
Well, how many StarCraft journalists do we have? Like realistically? I
actually believe that I am the only one.
I genuinely think so too.
Yeah, there are there's writing staff with TL, and I don't mean to throw any shade their way when I say like I think I might be the only one, but in terms of more investigative approach, I don't think I think they very pointedly choose not to take that route.
I think that's just like TL in general. TL is not really.
Yeah, TL does a lot of features, and maybe it's not fair for me to say that I think I'm the only one, because they do a ton of features, and they do great interviews there sometimes, and yeah, everybody on TL, the writers at TL are great and very underappreciated.
I'll be honest, I don't know who writes for TL. I don't know why that is.
A bunch of people, yeah.
I honestly just assume it was like, I just remember the old school people like Wax and all them, and I don't even know if they're still there.
Yeah, Wax still does stuff, yeah, and Ollie and. There's a bunch of them. Yeah, I totally retract. I think I'm probably the only like investigative journalist.
I think you're the only like freelance, non like attached to an organization.
Yeah, I think that would probably.
I feel like that's. I don't know anybody who is not a TL specific. Actually, I don't know any TL specific other than.
I feel bad like saying anything even close to that though, because I feel like I am forgetting something.
You know what I like about you? Because you embody the true spirit of being a Canadian. You're like apologetic for possibly want to be only, and you're like, oh man, I'm feeling so bad. I'd have been like, well, man, I'm totally the best and only.
No. Well, I mean, I might be the best. I'm not saying I'm not. Yeah. But if there was some other person here being interviewed by you right now, and you were like, are you like the only one? I think you might be the only one. They were like, oh yeah, I'm the only one. I'd feel like complete dirt, and I'd be really mad and like going on Twitter like, this person doesn't know what they're talking about. I do this all the time too, and I don't want those vibes, Good vibes only, okay?
Good vibes only. Kumbaya.
Hell yeah, dude.
But yeah, I feel like Team Liquid does like it's just stuff that happens. One, so like it's just this is the result of something, or this is the preview of something. There's not, or like this person joins this team, or like just straight like factual news.
They do some editorials too. They did Ollie just did the one about casters that a whole bunch of people didn't like.
Yeah, I think it was titled "Every Caster is Bad," and I don't like.
Oh, it was something that sounds really good.
It was good. They do. Yeah, they definitely do a lot of the editorializing. I feel like we don't have, but maybe just nothing is happening. I feel like we no longer have like content that is like slasher-esque. Like this team is screwing over this guy, and this guy's a secret asshole, and this guy is bad.
Well, I'll tell you
things like that.
Yeah, I don't think that we do, and in a sense, that's really good.
Is it?
Oh yeah, I mean it's really good that no teams seem to be screwing over their players.
Well, are we just assuming all the assholes have left StarCraft to greener pastures, or is are we asshole free in StarCraft?
I mean, like I don't have a billion contacts, right? If something seems to be coming up, then I'll try and dig The last time that I had to do that though was oh man, it was like last year, I think. I can't even remember the name of the org, but Tails was on the org, and Tails just like put out a tweet like, "Hey, I'm leaving this org. They didn't pay me." And it was like literally just like one little conversation or something like that, and it was like, "Oh yeah, this team owner was just shitty." And Tails didn't expect him to not be shitty. It was just on a chance maybe the guy wouldn't be shitty and pay him. So nothing like really was lost. And then the time before that was the invasion. When that guy totally skipped, and that was like a big meme. But I don't know. It just feels like there's not a whole bunch to be investigative about in StarCraft right now, which I would actually say probably is a good thing. But when I say that, I don't know too, right? Like there could be
I'd like to see you climb into like garbage cans of the teams and figure out their dirty trash and bring it back to the rest of us.
I mean, I have done that. Not for StarCraft. Yeah.
Fair enough. Right. Yeah, but I think you're right. Like 8 years in, I feel like a lot of that's been weeded out.
For sure.
More. Like there's definitely like over the past 8 years, there's been team managers that have like gone missing and stole people's money and all that stuff, but there's not too much of that.
Rest in peace, Quantic. What is like one of the most like stories that you broke? What was the biggest story that you like broke ground on?
Probably
like any story.
Yeah, it's probably when PPD left EG. That would probably be the biggest one. People got really mad too. People were so upset with me. Oh God. I had like actually like, oh, this is your fake news media like coming at me in my like Twitter DMs and adding at me and on Reddit and stuff. It was like really stressful. I don't like doing that kind of content actually because it's just so stressful to release like leaked information.
But isn't that like the gold mine of like today's social media when you bring up something that no one knows about and then you're the first to bring it up and then everyone's
in my experience. All the big hard-hitting, well not hard-hitting I guess, but I've only had a couple of news posts, but I feel like they've been consequential and none of them have ever really resulted in like a big massive followers on any platform or any kind of notoriety in a scene. It just doesn't, I don't know, it's just a lot of stress.
That's probably true.
I think you got to be doing it like all the time, like a Jacob Wolfbaum or a Slasher.
And the people that do it get the reputation of being like bad people or like.
Yeah, but like that's why you go to
like
Slasher.
I know that's what you go to them for, like the truth, but like over time, like there's a lot of people that would say they don't like Slasher, don't like Richard Lewis, don't like.
Yeah, they got a lot of hate.
Like they get hate for what they did.
But you know when Richard Lewis breaks a story, it's going to be good. You know it. Yeah. Like I knew it when I was afraid of Richard Lewis because I was always afraid that he was like I didn't have anything to hide, but I was always finding he would find something. So but I still listened. Like I was always watching. You know, I'd watch his show, and whenever this was when he was into like StarCraft, somewhat. And I would listen because you're like, oh, you never know what he's going to break next, and what interesting, juicy bit of news, and everything was hyped because like even though. Like I think is it hashtag broken dreams? Like
broken promises.
Broken promises. Yeah. That was like
I think that might have been a little I don't remember the specifics of that one. I always just feel like that was a little overblown. That was all about the pizza.
I don't know though. I think it was spot on. I feel like it was.
I'm trying to remember.
There were a lot of
there's a lot of things that are like there's a lot of I think there's a spin in like stuff goes wrong and sometimes it had bad intent to begin with. So like Richard broke the story, but a lot of people knew about like Alderis, that he was a complete scammer and all this stuff.
That wasn't broken promises though, was it?
No, it wasn't. But I'm saying that's an example.
Marathon man.
Yeah, exactly. He's still around to it. But he had bad intent from the beginning.
Yep.
He was lying. He was just full of shit from the beginning. I think other people that were like, I'm going to make a documentary, thought they were going to make a documentary.
They did.
Yeah. They genuinely thought that, and then maybe they're like out of film school and they don't know how to do it, and then they ran out of money because they didn't know how to.
Is it Sons of StarCraft?
So I think
one that really was like.
Well, that one was just that was bad, just plain bad. But again,
you got to remember
they did it, but it was bad.
You got to remember too that a lot of the Kickstarters that like hashtag broken promises they came up at the rise of Kickstarter. Like StarCraft 2 was one of the things that, oh, hey, look at that. Impeccable timing indeed, Eldars. StarCraft 2 came in exactly during the rise of Kickstarter. And it's not just a specific problem with StarCraft 2. People looked at that platform and went, oh my God, I can raise $1 million and do my thing without actually being able to do the thing. And they just didn't think about it. They thought they could, but a lot of the stuff required a lot more capital. It's like Star Citizen, you know, like, oof.
That's still in production too. So, but the thing is, like, it kept people honest. I think Richard Lewis and other journalists in esports like that kept people afraid, like almost like the Dark Knight.
Yeah, you need that check.
You like it?
I have so much respect for like Jacob Wolf and Slasher. Like those guys doing their thing. Like they get so much hate for, and like I've only gotten a taste of that. You know, it's so tough.
Like break off the just like the tip. Literally just the tip.
Yep.
So.
Lots of respect for them.
Yeah, absolutely. But let's talk about you. Where were you when you first decided you wanted to be a part of esports? Where were you?
As a fan or as a content creator? Because those are different questions.
As a content creator.
So as a content creator, there's like 2 points, I guess. Back in 2014, I was still just a fan, but I was just a very active, very passionate StarCraft fan, I guess. I used Screddit like all the time, and I was a very active poster there, and I'd like to think that I was like a recognizable name, the same way that you have like recognizable names on the forum right now, right? Like when you log in and see a thread, they're like, oh, this guy posted, you know.
So you take troll on the forums, or just like you just
no.
No,
no, I actively use the forums in a helpful way to contribute discussion. Reckon
like the original StarCraft forums.
No, Reddit.
Oh, they were talking about StarCraft forums. Like who uses?
Nobody used the real ones.
Yeah. Ender's Sword is like a name that I used to see all the time, and I mean I still do. But
all over there, yeah.
Ender's Sword and like 4 other accounts were people that I would just always recognize in like every single thread. I was probably like 2 steps below that. I was like in the threads that I felt that I could contribute to and were like really important, that I felt like I wanted to spend time on or whatever. Not that you just threw comments away, Ender's Sword.
Sure, then. It's not blocked at work, so that's
yeah. I feel you.
The rest of it is.
And then at some point in like January, February 2014, Destiny made a post talking about like the state of StarCraft. It wasn't like #saves HOTS or anything. It was talking more about like the community, I think. And at some point in his post, he mentioned, you know, like, man, like look at League, look at Dota, look at CS. All these communities have content creators that are in like Gold League, and they're making just fun content. They're not super serious. They're not trying to make tutorials. They're not trying to be like GM level analysis, right? They're just fun videos. We don't have that in StarCraft. Fucking wait, can I swear? Uh-oh.
Yeah, go ahead.
Why? Okay, thank you. And that really struck a chord with me. I was like, you know what? Why don't we have that? That's insane. I've never really. They do. I want that for StarCraft. And I thought again. I was like, well, I'm in Gold League. If I want it, I should just try and do it. Try and make it happen. And then I made the complete opposite choice. Instead of trying to make fun content to cater to casuals, I made like the most bland, boring, dry project thing. There were graphs involved. It was a really long undertaking thing, and that was when I branded into Cyan, got that YouTube channel and stuff.
Wait, what was that series? Was that a series of things you did, or was that like a one-off? I feel like I missed that from your history.
Yeah, definitely. It's really old now. It was kind of a series. It was like, what was it called? The StarCraft 2 History Project. Ooh. And what I did was I wanted to go in with a thesis statement, right? So my thesis statement question was something about like the interest of foreign fans in foreign competitors, because Region Lock was so hotly contested during this time, right? And
still
what I did was it's much less so though, way less so. I think more people are totally accepting of it right now. But I used a tool called the Wayback Machine.
I love the Wayback Machine.
I love the Wayback Machine too. Oh, it's so good. So for anybody that doesn't know, the Wayback Machine is this website on the Internet Archive, and it literally just archives the internet every day. I think there has to be like a certain number of views on a page for it to actually archive the page, but you can go really far back. So what I wanted to do is I wanted to look at Liquid and Reddit and look at the posts on the forums and like the way the forums were interacting with those posts and try and grab numbers from them and measure those numbers over time to draw a conclusion of the interest of like foreign fans in the Korean scene and in the like foreign players. Unfortunately, I couldn't do it with Reddit because Reddit literally didn't exist in the time frame that I needed it to, and it was growing so much during the time frame that it was logged. It just wasn't a reliable number. But I was able to go back to 2003, I think, for Team Liquid, and I just went like every month and I tried to find the top viewed thread, and I logged it, and I would log what the thread was about. And I ended up with a whole bunch of numbers from before StarCraft 2's release and then after. And yeah, it was like a really bland, boring project.
That actually sounds like pretty cool. Oddly, like
it wasn't well written for consumption was a big part of the problem, because I was still like, this is way before I was writing for any publications or anything like that. So I was very academic. I was writing like a history student, right? So it just wasn't a fun read.
The idea sounds like maybe the execution was off, but the idea actually sounds pretty cool. Like this is from someone
okay.
Like, for me, who like I watch a lot of like movie thesis where people will disseminate like, you know, what's the meaning behind, you know, hot tub time machine or something. Like, you know, I picked a random movie in the air, but like, you know, maybe Inception or something like that, and they'll break it down to the philosophical and maybe even some like other things that, you know, stuff like that. But I think there's a group of people who like huge, deep, in-depth breakdown. Like
it did okay. It did about as much as I could have hoped for. And then the real point where I really started, the region lock happened, right? And that was like a huge debate because nobody had ever thought that it would happen, I guess. And there was an episode of Unfiltered with Richard Lewis and Thorin, and it was basically like an hour and a half of Richard Lewis and Thorin shitting all over the StarCraft scene, saying things that were factually wrong, saying things that presenting opinion as if it was fact a lot of the time, and also just like straight up bullying or saying things very bully-esque about members of the StarCraft community. And I really took issue with that. I really, really hated it. And instead of going to Reddit and making a forum post, I was like, you know what? I've got this YouTube channel. I'm going to cut the parts that I find most problematic about this whole rant that they just did. I'm going to respond point by point in my own video. And
how bold
Reddit really, really liked that because it was like the circle jerk of the day. Like, actually what just happened, these guys are fools. It took off on Reddit, and Katz got in the forum and was like, hey, I saw this video and we're going to launch the root website soon. And would you like to have like some cooperation and do some stuff with us maybe? And I was like, heck yeah. And that's like the second start, I guess, the more real start. That's
how you became like a Reddit darling.
I guess so.
the Cyan Cape Crusader.
You got to defend us.
I missed that for some reason. I don't know. I didn't see that coming, but I do remember the Richard Lewis and Thorin, like, you know,
show.
Yeah, I remember. I remember Unfiltered fairly clearly. Yeah. I just like there were only certain episodes with Destiny on it that I could handle. It was a little bit much for me. In like,
it's a lot of negativity in one.
Yeah, like I'm okay with it for a short period of time, but there's only so much I can take, right, before I'm like, oh, this is like
I loved all those shows, honestly.
Did you like the negative rants sometimes? Like I love them because they're funny sometimes, but okay.
Yeah, it depends to me.
I can't specifically remember a point where I was like, wow, this sucks, and I turned it off. So, I mean, it might happen. I don't know. I really can't remember anything specific.
Would you like to see that kind of come back? Like that kind of...
Well, I think it has, right? We've got the Pylon Show. We're doing this.
Yeah, but Pylon Show isn't the same kind of like Unfiltered. And
what do you think is different about it?
You know what? It's just the...
I think it's that they're not super ranty and negative.
Yeah, that's the word.
Like it's almost Unfiltered was probably the peak of that, but Live on 3 used to be
Live on 3.
Live on 3
used to be a bit like that, but I liked that one. I felt there was a good balance in there.
I watched a lot of Live on 3. I watched a lot of Live on 3. That was my first StarCraft. Well, it wasn't only StarCraft, but it was my first sort of like esports talk show thing I ever watched, and I loved it. It was fun.
I think that a lot of like the reason why the Pylon show to me isn't, doesn't have that negativity, I guess, that maybe Unfiltered in the late game might have. I just think the scene's in a really good place right now, and I don't know that there's a lot of reason to be negative, right?
That's true too. There hasn't been a lot wrong, but also that's just more positive. Not that Jeff's ever been called super positive, but he's like, they're insiders. I think the thing is when you get the journalists or like the people that are not really in the community but are in the esports community in general but prefer other games are going to be more negative towards the games they don't.
I'm gonna counter that and say that that's not true. I think it was the personalities that made it. Like, I think Destiny and Thorin and Richard Lewis were just generally people who did that in general, so they found negativity where like if it was just like a small thing, you could blow it up into magnify it by 10.
Yeah, there's that too.
It's probably true.
Sure.
I think we still have those negative things in, like, our community is more mature in terms of age than a lot of those growing pains are gone. But I think the characters that were in the community at the time found a lot of things that they could push as a narrative and extrapolate on and make it, and sometimes they caused it, right? Sometimes you choke somebody on a DreamHack stage and it becomes news, right?
Oh, no. You're gonna get blocked, dude. You're gonna get blocked.
Well, like, sometimes it happens, right? And and then that's what, but I think, yes, I agree that our scene is older and it's much nicer in the sense that we're,
I feel like no one's fighting anymore. Remember back in
I think that's kind of bad.
2010 or 11, like, yeah, I know a little, but like Idra was feuding with everyone that he met.
Right.
Like, there was the value to that. Remember him in Cruncher?
Right.
Some guy that no one had ever heard of until Idra was mad.
Okay, but here's the thing though. It's like when we have things that are like I don't want to say negative, but they're kind of like shocking, they attract attention from outside our community. Like, the last thing we've had in like the last 5 years is like Larva playing with his feet, and everyone's like, "Oh my god!" and they lose their minds, and but suddenly we're on Kotaku, and suddenly
I think that's a good thing, though. I mean,
it is. Yeah, I think
we still have drama too. I mean, the Husky stuff this week, the
but like
stuff this week, it's fine.
Kotaku's not gonna pick up on Husky.
That's fine. That's good. That's fine. I want that.
I don't. No one really wants Kotaku involved.
Yeah, but like, okay, but then bringing it up brings people who didn't think about StarCraft, who like the fringes, not the hardcore Kotaku fans, but like the people in the outskirts that this pops up in their feed, and they're like, oh, you know what? Maybe I should give StarCraft a try. It's free to play, right?
I would prefer StarCraft to get that mainstream news coverage from the good stuff. I feel like the drama stuff doesn't usually pull people in.
Well,
so much as like, wow, StarCraft scene seems really messed up. Like that kind of thing.
I don't know if it pulls new people in. I think it does keep people engaged, though.
I think if Kanye West has taught me anything, is that news does.
Oh God, what has Kanye West taught us? What hasn't he taught us?
Well,
Soupity scoop.
Listen, it's winning the Grammy. All right?
I've always had a theory that like soccer has nothing to do with the game of soccer. Soccer is all about cities and countries being mad at each other and stories about cheating. Every story about soccer is about cheating, scandals, Neymar pretending he's hurt, and like all this stuff. Like, there's never been a story about a soccer goal.
That's kind of like entertainment, right? So,
but I think I think that entire sport lives on the controversy of what happened like 4 years ago or whatever the hell.
But that actually brings the point, because that's kind of like how you would hear it, unless you are hardcore. Are you a hardcore soccer fan? Probably.
Obviously not.
Obviously not. So like, just like someone who's not hardcore into StarCraft probably wouldn't hear like when we're talking about Husky, and we're like, oh, they wouldn't even hear that. But like Larva playing on his feet, then like they're gonna hear about that, and then they'd be like, oh wow, StarCraft must be full of just drama. But when WCS BlizzCon comes up, it's in their mind, right? And I'm like, oh, maybe I'll watch this.
Maybe.
And well, it's kind of like what happens with anything with marketing. That's Kanye.
No such thing as bad PR, right?
Yeah, right. It's the Kanye West effect. But back to the Cyan effect. I'm curious to know, when did you do an interview that didn't go as you expected it to go? Good or bad? Like, it could be a bad way or it can be a good way, but like, when did an interview you did went in a way you completely didn't see it going?
I think that's a tough one for me because I think most of them go pretty much in line with what I think. Gosh. So I didn't release this one, but I interviewed a team owner at one point, and it was just a little awkward, I guess. I can't. What can I say?
No, say it. Come on.
I'm trying.
This can be our unfiltered moment.
Oh no, I'm super filtered. All right, I want to go far. All right, I need to filter myself so I can go far. I'm in this for the money and nothing else. All right, don't get this wrong. All right, don't mistake me.
All right, don't get it twisted. That's been clipped.
Yeah, hell yeah, clip it, share it everywhere, sell out Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, every day of the week. Yeah, yeah, I don't know, just like interacting with some people sometimes. You can get off on partially the wrong foot for something that you would never think is the wrong foot, and then everything after that, no matter what, is just going to be a little weird. But I've never had like a terrible interaction. I've never had that, and
it could be a good interaction, one that you thought was going to be bad.
Well, yeah, but I go into most of my interviews, all of my interviews, really, thinking that it will be a good interaction, and every interview I've ever published has been a good interaction, I think.
Except for the one that you didn't publish.
Yeah, but it wasn't like a terrible interaction. It was just like, this is a little bit weird right now. Oof, I don't like this as much. But that's not. It wasn't terrible either. Like, this is the thing, right? Like, I have to think really hard about it and pull so far into the depths of my memory to try and find something. Because generally speaking, all of the interviews that I've done have been like a really good time.
But that's the best part of this show. We want to get the ones that are like.
I'm sorry, I can't help you. I just don't have any.
Well, what was the awkward one? What happened there?
Oh, that's it. That's all you're getting. That's it.
Oh, okay. All right.
I can't. I respect the person a lot. It just got off on a little teeny tiny bit of the wrong foot. And I'm such a paranoid person anyway. It was probably fine. I mean, I know it was. But I felt weird because it just got off on a little teeny tiny like awkward footing. I was like, oh.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. They're all just fine. I mean, I feel. Oh, you know what? Actually, I'll give you one. The Avalo interview. Oh. I was a little concerned that some of the questions that I had, maybe he'd take them the wrong way or become more confrontational. But it super didn't happen. He was super reasonable and he understood completely that there were questions that I had to ask and they were questions that were worth asking, and it was great. Yeah, I mean, Avalo is such a controversial person. He had so many controversial things to ask him. But you know what? It was fine.
So one of the questions I'm going to assume this is a troll question, but it might be funny to hear it anyways. What about the time you were about to interview Semper, but halfway through the interview you decided to completely cut him off? And why do you hate North America?
Oh, Fear Dragon. Oh, Fear Dragon, my Fear Dragon. This is a meme question. I don't even know where this originated. Yeah, I don't know. Fear Dragon's been looking for me to do an interview Semper for so long because I said that I would like a year ago, and stuff just kept coming up and kept coming up and kept coming up. And I would still very much like to. I love Semper. He is a really nice guy. I haven't met him too much, but he's a really nice guy, and I think he's worth interviewing. He's one of those rare North American Terrans.
Did that happen?
No, that never happened at all.
Oh,
of course not. Fear Dragon is hard trolling. Okay.
Oh. I thought he was actually talking about.
No, not at all. He's just like, it's just his little meme. He just adds to me like Semper interview when. I'm like, okay, thanks, buddy.
Okay.
There's a
Fear Dragon's a good guy.
He's a big difference between a North American and a Quebecer.
That's absolutely true.
All right, so here we go. What are some of the bad recommendations you hear people give when they ask you about getting into esports?
Gosh, I don't think I've ever gotten a bad recommendation.
Not to you, but like, if you've ever heard someone ask, how do I get to esports to somebody else, and they give them a recommendation? Have you ever been like, no, like follow your dreams or money will come?
Yeah. I'm really trying to think. I mean, everybody's heard bad ones, right? But I feel like I just erased them from my mind. I can't really think of any. Sorry to like completely blank on this. Because like for me personally, like when I ask someone who, like, oh, how do you get into esports? What should people be doing? What should I be doing? Right? I'll only ever ask that to people whose opinion that I really respect and who have who know what they're doing. So I've never asked that of somebody who I would take a bad answer from. I just don't think that it's possible for like Rotterdam to give a bad answer to that.
No, it's not.
Yeah.
I think maybe I should try to rephrase the question. More like, is there a common thread of advice that people give about getting into esports or into journalism in general that you think is a misconception? Like it's not what, maybe it's the common one, maybe like the money will come if you follow your passion, or like just post on Reddit. And
I don't know. I don't hear that ever. I don't think that anyone is pretending that there's money to go around in StarCraft esports. Also, I will address a misadventure. Oh my God, misconception that was in your question. No one's giving anyone advice on how to get into journalism in esports. It doesn't happen. There's not enough of us. No, nobody's interested in that. No.
Then what advice would you give someone asking? They're fresh with starry eyes and they just heard.
I think if you want to be a writer in esports, join the forums. Start posting a lot on the forums. Reddit's a really useful tool because you can actually gauge how people think of your content with the upvote system. If you write something that you really put your soul into, shouldn't matter how old the thread is. If the thread is like 3 hours old, you should still be getting upvotes if it's good content, right? This is kind of I kind of live by this to this day, right? Like if I go into a Reddit thread that's like several hours old and I really want to make a post, if I put time and effort into the post, it should get upvotes if it's like good content, right? If it's well written. I would say just if you want to be a writer, start writing for the community and see how they interact with it. Write blogs too. Like go make a Tumblr blog, go make a Medium blog or something. Start putting yourself out there.
Don't put anything
practice.
On Tumblr. Please don't put anything on Tumblr. Please. No one uses Tumblr anymore.
Do it. It's a good place to practice being hated.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
I only use Tumblr for one thing, and it's not for esports.
What do you use it for?
The internet is for porn.
Man, I respect that a lot.
Well,
I have a Cyan Esports Tumblr that I never post to, and it's just like the thing right now. It's so interesting right now, right? Like with Overwatch coming in and the Overwatch League, there's actually like a growing number of people on Tumblr paying attention to esports. Yeah, and I would love to tap into that. I would love it so much, but it is.
Is it for hard. Like the fanfic though?
Overwatch League fanfic?
Oh, God. Because of Overwatch porn.
It has to be.
No, like legitimate Overwatch League posts. Like, those shitty Tumblr gifs that are like 3 frames?
Yeah.
Like 6 of them?
Oh, like comics and stuff. Like Overwatch.
Yeah, like Overwatch League esports posting where they have their favorite players and they reblog them and stuff like that. Yeah. That
I always feel like that stuff makes onto Imgur and then makes onto Reddit once, like eventually. But yeah, that would make sense. Tumblr would be a natural place for that stuff to thrive too. I didn't even think about it. Just the fanfic porn was the first thing that popped into my mind.
Plus, it's a lot more women being put into the scene, which is great.
On Tumblr?
Through Tumblr. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, absolutely.
There's a whole secret world of Tumblr I've never explored.
Well, you already know where I'm going.
That would make a great clip. I'll keep it running. That one in mind. Oh, Dave, this is why you're my co-host. Actually, curious. Dave, have you ever heard any bad recommendations or advice people give going?
I think the biggest thing, and they actually, I think, covered this on like a Pylon show like 2 or 3 episodes ago. I think some of the worst advice people give to streamers in particular is just be yourself.
Yeah, you know what? That's a good one.
Because nobody, like, unless you are some naturally like crazy person that talks weird, then don't be
Nobody
yourself.
want to watch that.
Like, you got to know what you're trying to do. Like, any of like the super popular streamers talk like they're talking to 12-year-olds because that's what they're doing. So like people like PewDiePie or people like Markiplier or people like whatever, they're speaking to children. So you can't just be yourself. And then people that are trying to be like edgier or more entertaining, like if you're being yourself, then you would sit and play the game and not say anything. So that doesn't make any sense. So I think that's the biggest thing, is you have to be a more vibrant version of yourself.
I would agree with that, actually, 100%.
I would actually piggyback on that and say you need to find a quirk, a part of your personality, and dial it up to 100. Whatever that quirk is, like, you dial it up, right? If you're a funny person, like funny by other people's standard, not your own, then you need to dial it up by like 100. You need to find to be a good comedian. If you're someone who is analytical, and that's like something people have told you because you have an analytical mind, then you got to dial it up to 100.
Yeah.
Right. And that's like what you got to do. That thing that sticks out about you, and you get to do. But that yeah, I think that definitely leans into the idea of. I like that. That's a really good bad advice. I like that one.
What Fear Dragon in the chat? Best advice: be okay working for exposure, Kappa. I would say know your value. Never work for like no money if you're working for something. Always work for some money, but like do be prepared for it to be almost no money.
I would put that as a caveat that you should don't work for exposure without knowing why you're doing that exposure. Like if you know that you yourself like have no like zero cred and like no experience at all, like zero experience, like you're actually a really bad writer. And you need that like feedback on a level higher scale, I think that exposure is good. But if you are someone who has gotten some, feedback from the community or whatever, and you've been able to hone your craft to a certain level, then, exposure has no use to you.
Yeah,
I guess I'm assuming that you've done the like community work that I referenced earlier.
Yeah,
but I would say even then, like if you're writing for a publication that has an editor there to give you that feedback that you do need it.
Yeah, true.
Even if when I did my first articles, I was getting paid like $15 American. Like you got to start somewhere. Don't just value yourself, value your time and your work a little bit.
I think is like it goes into the same conversation of people about like taking internships and exposure, which is a very bigger conversation altogether.
Very true. Yeah, absolutely.
I take apart what I say to people, because like when I started esports, I completely just worked for free. That was just it. Yeah. But I built experience when I did it. I hosted Anime North, which is an anime convention, and they didn't pay me anything, but I learned how to make an event. And when the event fucked up, it was somebody else's money. So like, that to me was more valuable than, getting paid, which I wouldn't have. No one would have paid me if I was a bad organizer. That's natural. And so, I think that it all depends on the rung which you start in. If you start on the lowest rung, like you haven't done this thing before, and someone
that's it. Take exposure or experience above your current pay grade.
Yeah. Oh, I like that.
That's a really good one. Hell yeah.
Do not do it at your current. Like, so if you're already a WCS caster, then don't go
below
whatever. But if if you go below it, they pay you to go below it.
I'm stealing that. I'm stealing this.
I like that one. That was good.
But if this is your big break, like, is the exposure worth it? Like, someone invited you to BlizzCon as an analyst. Yeah, take it for free if that's what you've never done before.
Absolutely, especially if it's the first time. Like, if it's the second time,
first time's free. It's like, it's like a lot of things that you want people to get addicted to.
Yeah. Like if you get invited to TI and like, well, we're not gonna pay you, but because you're not like the A caster, you're like maybe like on the end rung of cast. Like if you're obviously top tier caster, you're gonna get paid. But like if you're like the last caster invited to TI, I'm gonna take that.
I'm actually gonna go against this. I wanted to say this to you. I want to throw it in there, but I would also throw in the idea of like just know who it is that you're working for. If you're being invited to TI, do not let them not pay you. Like you have to be paid. It's TI, it's Valve. You have to make them pay you. But if you're working for if you're doing stuff with like Proxy Tempest or something like that, like man, that's just a community thing. They're only doing it,
It's true. Like it also depends. Like if Valve invites you, then obviously you're gonna get paid. But if like one of the like Moonduck takes you, like, hey, you know what? We'll
give you a tryout, basically.
Yeah, like you're like, oh, we've been given X amount of dollars from Valve, but the other A casters got it, and we don't really have a space for you, but you can get like you know, if they get sick or something, you can come on, but we don't give you for free. Like,
obviously, these are like two very
specific,
very far ends of the spectrum.
Yeah, absolutely.
And there's a bunch of stuff in between. But, you know, just like think about who it is that you're working for, how much capital they probably have, and just even anything at all. Just like value your work and value that exposure and stuff like that.
I think we'll leave it with like Ender Swords one. You know, don't take
super good. Yeah,
I think that was really good. Don't take it,
and make sure that In Control is not going to bully you.
What? Oh,
Don't
poor
get
Fear
bullied
Dragon.
by In Control. All right, well, that's how it works. You want to bounce one off, Dave?
I like this question here about which is just a complete non sequitur. But what is the best thing you've ever purchased for under $100?
Huh. Wow, that's a real out of left field here.
Yeah, I know. That's why I liked it.
I think. Oh man.
And it doesn't have to be a physical thing. It can be like an experience. It can be
like love.
Yeah, if you've purchased love for $100, we want to hear about it. Tell us if you've purchased love.
You want to hear about me purchasing love for $100?
You know what? We've already allowed swearing. You can go.
We can go full hog here, huh?
If you.
Man, let me.
What if you spent $100 on? Or below, 100 and below.
Below $100, man. I'm trying to think. Trying to pull like some cool like travel experience or something like that, but I don't think I have a lot of those for like under $100 where I had like an amazing night or something like that. The Mass Effect 2 Collector's Edition for Xbox 360.
Why is that?
Because Mass Effect 1 and 2 are two of the best video games ever made. They're a strong part of my like development as a human, and appreciation for sci-fi and storytelling. And I will never play the third one because I hear that it ruins everything, so I won't do it. And yeah, I like little collectible trinket stuff. I'm a big hoarder, so yeah, I don't know. That's what I'm gonna go with, I guess. I don't know.
I have to agree with you. Mass Effect is actually my favorite game series of all time.
Oh, hell yeah.
I didn't play Andromeda for the exact same reason why you didn't play 3. So
yeah, feels bad. It's too bad they never made that third one. They could have really completed that trilogy, but that's a shame.
They did, but you didn't play.
There is no third Mass Effect.
All right, fair enough. Jedi mind tricks, we can get that.
Doesn't work. I got Mass Effect 3 for free because I bought SimCity.
No.
That's what they did, and I still haven't played it.
What was out of things that you know, in esports for you, what was an apparent failure for something, but later set you up for something better?
You know what? I don't know that this counts because I don't know that it's a personal failure, but it's the whole drama with the score.
Like the score esports?
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know if you guys, for anybody that doesn't know, the score plagiarized one of my articles pretty hardcore.
What?
They do that.
The thing?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Actually, Brown Bear did an analysis. So I wrote a little piece thing about like how do esports teams decide what games they want to be a part of, and it wasn't like a magnum opus of text. It was just a little kind of like fun little piece, a little fluffy and just fun, right? And I talked to Katz of Root. I talked to Jason Lake of Complexity. And I talked to Marty Strengths Elwick from.
Oh, you just like real, like that's some real journalism deep in there.
yeah. I thought that there was like a good kind of range of team size. Like Splice is really big. Complexity is at the time. Complexity was like a little bit mid-range, and then Root was obviously a little bit smaller, but very notorious nonetheless, right?
Yeah.
It was just a fun little piece, and it was interesting. You know, it was fun. It was good. And the score, I don't know how this happened. Like, I don't know what they were thinking. Somebody took that piece and kind of rewrote it as a news feature. But the reason why this doesn't work, right? Like, you can do this if it's an actual piece of news. Like, if I had come out and been like, Splice getting into professional Tetris, that would have been a news post. You can take that and be like, esports heaven has found out by this, right? Like that kind of thing is totally fine, right? But this was just a feature. It wasn't even news. And Brown Bear actually did an analysis of the text, comparing my text to the scores text, and found that it was something like 87% just copy pasted from my own.
It's like the internet incarnate.
I just don't understand. I really liked the score too. I had the app on my phone, so I get the news alerts too. So this happened, and I was so incensed because when it happened, like right away, I was like, I don't even know if I'm allowed to not be okay with this, right? And I sent a message to Drexen, my editor at ESH. I was like, dude, look at this. Am I allowed to be angry about this? And he was like, absolutely. This is really messed up. And we made like a couple of tweets, and I made a video actually for my YouTube for the next day being like, this happened and I'm really not okay with it. And I was super down. I was really bummed out. Credit to Drexen, like this happened like the night, and I had to leave the internet. I was so upset. I was just really angry that like this would be a thing that happened, because I was like even more of a nobody then than I am now, and I'm still a nobody. And I was just like, man, why are they stealing my content? Like, if they thought this piece was good, like, damn, you know? And this wasn't even the first time I had some piece of, like, I interviewed Artosis and it was featured in the score because he talked about news things that were specific, and that was fine. But Drexen stepped up. He tried to, like, message appropriate people and stuff like that. And after, you know, the 24-hour period, I had a bunch of follows because, like, TB retweeted it, like a bunch of like relative game people which retweeted it. Mr. Strength Zelwick from Splice ended up banning his org, like embargoing them to never talk to the score ever again, and they still are. I met him in California at BlizzCon, and I was like, hey, just thanks. I interviewed him, and then afterward I was like, hey, I'm that guy, thanks for like sticking up for the little guys. He was like, oh no way, that's great, man, that was really messed up. So after everything, I had a whole bunch of like esports journalists follow me, a whole bunch of just people period follow me. It gave me like, I don't know, it got me in some people's heads, and I did get some opportunities as a result of that bad thing happening. So
That's cool. That's a really good story. I like that.
Actually, Lycan messaged me while it was going on. He was like, man, I'm really sorry that this happened to you, but I promise at the end of it, you will be better for having this happen than you if it didn't. I was like, thanks, I guess. Grr. But I mean,
is it possible to be like flattered because they stole something that you wrote?
Not really. I mean, like, if it was a really good, like, if I thought that piece was my magnum opus, but it wasn't an incredible, like, it was good. I'm proud of everything that I put my name on and published. I really am. But man, I don't know what they were thinking. Like, it wasn't worth it for them at all.
I think that's almost, I feel like you cracked open the BuzzFeed of the internet of like how they get their content.
The score, like, I mean, we know a couple people there that are at the score. And it's not like the sturdiest ship.
It's like
I don't mean to like throw everyone at the score down, you know, the garden path or whatever.
Well, I am.
Even during this conflict, I was very, very, like, I really didn't want to mention the name of the author of that specific post and send a bunch of hate their way.
Did you at least ask them? Like, that author, did you?
No, I was adding like the score itself.
It's a type
I really didn't want to start like a hate train, right? Because that's not fair.
Sure.
To the person involved, because really it was the editor at the end of the day that had to give that the go ahead, and that
that's what I'm thinking. Is it's probably some lazy 19-year-old that did it, but then the moment they realized that's what happened, they should have taken action.
Well, they are all professionals at the score. Yeah.
Did they contact you and apologize?
No, I believe what they did instead, they posted about how this was like a valid news post and why they were justified in.
So they doubled down.
They changed the credit. They changed the accreditation because I originally think they hadn't even linked the article. This is a while ago now, so I might be fuzzy on this, but I originally think they hadn't named me and they didn't even link to the original post. And then they changed that afterward and added like an editor's note or whatever. Like, we think that we're justified because of this. And again, Brown Bear did an analysis and it was like 85% the same text. Yeah, I mean, like, whatever.
Yeah, that's.
You know what the real thing is, like, what can you do? Like, I don't think that's an esports problem. I think that's like a general, like, news problem on the internet? Because I couldn't tell, like, if that happened to you and like CNN picked it up, like, what could you do, right? Like,
well, I was really heartened, like, after the fact, right? Because so many people in the esports community, so many big people too, they did, you know, try and visibility boost that, and Scredit too. Again, like, I love Scredit so much, man. Scredit gets so much hate from a lot of the community figures, but I feel like I don't know, maybe I'm even wrong in this, but I feel like Scredit really likes me for some reason and wants me to succeed and like is kind of rooting for me. Like, some people on Scredit are doing that, and Scredit at this time, they like posted my video to
did you say Scredit?
forum and Scredit, SC Reddit.
Oh,
Yeah.
Starcraft Reddit.
I thought my ear hearing was going weird. I was like, did you say Scredit? Is that?
It's like an old terminology, I guess. I don't know. I'm trying to bring it
I've
back.
heard that too. Yeah.
But yeah, like our StarCraft, like somebody posted it there and it got like really upvoted, and I was just like, oh, they care. It was nice.
Oh, that's nice.
But beyond that, I like, you can't really do anything. You're totally right. Just try and scream about it on the internet.
That works. That's how most things work these days.
well, you have to, whoever has the highest amount of followers wins,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah,
Isn't
that's
that
a
how that
fact.
works? All right. So we're getting close, but still got a few more. So what new thing have you started doing in the last 5 years that has impacted how your esports career goes?
Well, gosh, my esports career isn't even 5 years old.
Oh,
Not
yeah,
even close.
2004. Close. Okay, so what have you started doing in the
My
last?
esports career is like 2 years old.
You said 2014, though.
Oh, I wouldn't count that. That was super
Oh.
like just fan stuff that I did, you know, like once every couple months. Yeah, I wouldn't count that.
Tumblerina posts.
What? Okay.
Posts on Tumblr. Which
No.
ones? Oh, okay.
What?
Hey, okay.
Okay.
So, okay, what have you started doing in the last year then that has really impacted your esports career?
Well, in the last year, I've been writing a lot with like the Challenger coverage and stuff like that with the Blizz site as a freelancer, which has been really, really good for me, and I think it's helped me to hone a different style of writing because the posts are very much more they're shorter, they need to be more condensed, and usually I'm very much long-winded. I have problems meeting word count, so that's been a really useful skill for me. And I've also recognized the importance of Twitch, and my Twitch channel is still very much neglected, but I really want to do this in, like, since I'm not going to be at WCS Montreal, I really, oh yeah, you guys, yeah,
Yeah, you said it to me before. He was saying.
oh yeah, that was it. Yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah, I'm instead going to invest in a new computer setup, which is the responsible thing to do. I'm on a actual 2012 laptop, so it's the right choice, but it feels bad. Feels bad, man. But yeah, I'd like to start streaming a lot more because I recognize how important Twitch is to grow in this community and in this industry of esports. Like as a writer, I think that you need to be a figure to draw people in. You can't just write things and not be known to the community.
Yeah.
I think that being a known figure helps draw people into that writing and the videos and the streams and everything. Like I feel like doing it all is important to me. And recognizing Twitch as a platform that I need to be on more, I think that's probably a big one.
I agree.
Yeah,
I completely agree.
Yeah, whenever people can't put like a face or a personality to the article or something, then it tends to just get lost on them who wrote it.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I have YouTube, but you can't have hosts on YouTube. You know, like you can't have raids and a chat that you're interacting with. You know, it's just very, very different.
Absolutely. It's a completely different experience. Anyways, I like Twitch more than YouTube anyways. So for our esports content.
Yeah, they're different. Yeah, exactly.
Like if you want to go watch Nerdy Nummies, go to YouTube. But
Yes.
want to see.
I guess. I don't know. I should boycott it now.
What?
Solar, not that I ever watched.
Okay, do you have a closing question you hit us with, Dave?
Let's say what part of Canada is the best part of Canada?
We already know the answer to that.
Wait, what do you think the answer is to that?
It should be at least be somewhere in Atlantic Canada.
Oh boy, you sure are wrong.
Yeah.
I don't know. What is the best part of Canada? I feel like Canada has no specific one best part. I feel like Canada as a nation is the sum of its parts, and to single any one bit out as having more or less worth would be incorrect, for we are a mosaic.
That is such a non-Ontarian thing to say.
I mean, I stand Toronto in every single professional sport, so take that.
Yeah, I don't know about
Toronto and Owl.
Yeah,
I'm ready.
Toronto and Owl soon.
That should be interesting.
I'm so excited.
Do you have any insider journalist information on what they're paying for a franchise?
What they're paying?
Because I've wondered, there's no way that an expansion team is paying what those first teams paid.
They're paying more.
It's 35 million.
I think so?
Yep. The first round, the first round was like 10 to 15, if I remember correctly. The second round is 20 to 35.
I just don't know how they're getting that back.
The Toronto spot is like a buyer's group. It is the VC
Splice is
group.
running it.
Splice is managing it, and they have a 10% share. They are teaming up with, what is the name of it? It's like the Over Media Group, which was a crypto group that is branching into esports.
But he also owns a bunch of like restaurants in like Toronto or something like that, if I remember.
Well, that one guy is not the only investor. So there's that group, and then that one guy is a part of the VC board that is investing as well. They put his name in the article, I think, because he's from Toronto, but it's actually a board.
Naturally.
And, they the board that owns the Pens. So it's like it's a group effort kind of thing.
Sir Toast or Old Man Toast asked what part of Canada you're from. I could never remember what province.
I'm from Newfoundland.
Ah, okay. So I think that's where from Old Man Toast is from. So you probably geek
Oh,
out.
no way.
Yeah.
Nice.
Wow, that's rare. That's super rare.
It is.
Yeah, I'm the one that's a Halifaxer.
Are you from Halifax?
Yeah,
you're from Halifax?
I'm from Halifax originally. Yeah.
Man, if I have a bunch of friends in Halifax now. I'm gonna make it out there someday for a visit. We should like.
I ran a tournament in Halifax, and definitely one of the most interesting. Everything smells like the sea in Halifax. It smells like the sea or ocean or whatever.
It's the ocean.
From being in Toronto, everything's the sea. Large body of water, it's the sea. Lake, nah, it's a sea.
I mean, I haven't lived there in 20 years, but that's where I'm from.
All right, so I want to end this question off. It's one of my favorite questions. And I asked this question to you once in a chat, so we'll find out if you remember. If you could have a gigantic billboard anywhere with anything on it, and it would, metaphorically speaking, reach millions, if not billions of people, what would you have it say?
I'd have my socials on it. And what could I say that would be really enticing for millions of people? Follow the best thing ever, or something like that. I'd have to put some thought into it, but yeah, I'd have my socials on it. Hell yeah, self-serving, 100%.
Self-serving. All right.
Second to that, I'd like advertise StarCraft in some way because best game.
Listen, there's only so much space on this thing. Like you probably.
Well, second, if I couldn't do that, if they were like, no, you can't put your socials on that, then I'd be like, okay, let's figure out a way to advertise StarCraft 2.
Okay.
You got to get one of the billboards that like changes.
Yeah, one of those. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Like scrolls over.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right.
That's the key.
Well, thank you so much, Cyan, for this part of the interview. Is there any shout outs you want to do?
Big shouts to you guys for inviting me on. It's actually my second one in like 2 weeks, and they've both been super fun. Man, when it rains, it pours. It feels super good to be interviewed on this end of the desk. It's just really nice. It's really rare.
You're our only journalist, right? So I have to get you.
I got to do something.
Yeah, it was a whole bunch of fun. I do want to shout out Duddles and the Dank Shrine. They did interview me last week, so for someone who want more of this, go check out the Tank Shrine and see that VOD. That was another good conversation too.
Man, we got sloppy seconds.
Oh, hey, listen.
Better. It's better.
I'm not touching it. Yeah, no. Also, shout outs to my Twitter at Cyan Esports and Twitch /Cyan Esports and YouTube.com/Cyan Esports. And shout outs to the Discord too. The Discord homies give me life.
Nice.
Even if they are massive degens, okay? I check it every day and we talk and I love them. even if they're degenerate children.
Oh, you know what? I actually just got a random question sent to me for you. What is your favorite anime?
None of them. Who sent you that?
No, and I just know you're.
I have to know.
Yeah.
I just knew you were a weeb. So.
I have to. Oh my god! I have to watch 3 anime and review them because I made that commitment, and I have to spend like a month streaming the anime community on Twitch. Oh my god!
What anime did you stream?
Or did you commit?
Or did you commit to? Sorry, yeah.
Well, it's 3 of them, right? Because I did a charity stream on my birthday, and I had like goals, and they crushed the goals. So at some point, I was like, "Oh, I have nothing left to put down because you guys have gone so far. Screw it! I'll just do more of the one big goal." So I think what I'm doing is RE0. I wanted to do like a popular one, a meme one, and one that I thought I might like. So it's RE0, Cowboy Bebop, and Akini. It's like Penguin told me to watch it. Okay, it's like soda cans that become girls. Oh, it's terrible. I watched 1 episode. I don't know how I'm gonna do it. I don't know how.
I like how you're pretending like you're like, oh man, these are so terrible. You probably love them all.
Oh yeah, I do. I can't even hide my enthusiasm. It's the best thing ever.
Cowboy Bebop is actually really amazing. I wanna point that out. Cowboy Bebop.
I think I would like Cowboy Bebop. That's why it's there.
Cowboy Bebop is like not Akira level, but it's pretty high up in terms of like classic anime that most people, even people who don't know anime, know about. So I love Steins Gate. Steins Gate's like one of my favorite pieces of media. Oh, so you do watch anime. You make it seem like you've never watched it.
Oh no, I've watched well enough of it to know that I loathe it as a genre. But I've watched Steins Gate and I really like it, and FMA Original is really good. And that's pretty much just it.
Those are like mainstream anime. That's like,
Yeah.
You say that like he's filthy.
I didn't like the connotation there. Like, you're watching mainstream anime? Who the fuck do you are? What are you doing right now?
Like you tell me like you watch Inuyasha. Jeez, this is like YTV level anime.
Well, wait, Inuyasha was one that because Inuyasha, when I was a little kid, came on in like the adult time slot, and it was like, oh my god, this cartoon lets you see part of a titty. This is incredible. So
good, awesome. So even though the interview is done, we're gonna keep doing our segments, and you're gonna stay with us, Cyan. So it's fine.
Okay,
but this is more for the purpose of those who will clip this part to end the interview till later. So big
shouts to you guys. Thanks for talking to me.
No, thank you very much for being on the show. And this is the clip part. So just for you, Tara, who's going to be cutting this episode, that was the part to cut. Next, though, next part on the show, I think we should give them the answer. Don't you think, Dave? Give them the answer to the StarCraft challenge if it doesn't crash us?
Yeah, okay. Go for it.
All right. Let's do it. Cross fingers. Let's see the answer. StarCraft challenge. Oh my God. I see we're dead. All right. Did you get it? Did you know it was Boxer? Wow, I just thought you hated Death Note. I shouldn't have invited you.
That's like so bad. That's probably the one that I like, but I agree with you, actress in chat. I only really like season 1, and then it changed.
It kind of gets weird into us after season 2. Like, well, Nier's not as fun as L, but that is besides the point. This boy Cyan totally gets it.
Is The Last Airbender an anime?
It's like American in terms of like it's influenced by anime, clearly, but it's made in
What?
an American studio.
Is that a real thing?
It is. It's totally like, okay, it's like totally spies. Like,
What? No, that's a cartoon.
Okay, totally spies, and them. So it's like Archie's Weird Mysteries, totally spies, and oh my god, what's the other one? There's another one in that same category. Are anime American cartoons that are influenced by people who watched anime, and they.
I think Last Airbender was animated in France. I think.
Nickelodeon.
Someone told me that.
It might.
I like the last two. I like that.
There's like a team that did it. That I liked it, but yeah.
Okay, they came out in interviews, said that they are huge anime nerds, but they're obviously not an anime. It's just like you can't call champagne that's not from France champagne. It's just sparkling wine or whatever it is. It has to be from like Bordeaux or wherever it is in France.
I don't know about that because like back when that stuff first came out, they didn't call it anime; they called it Japanimation.
I don't know if the Japanese called it that though, did they?
The Japanese didn't call it anything.
They just called it cartoons, right?
Yeah,
it's anime just means cartoons. So
there you go.
I've always thought it was interesting that it's considered a genre. It's just
in outside of Japan. Just like like in France, and you'd be like champagne, like, oh, you mean that thing over there? We have it all the time. It's like, and like, Caribbean where you're like weed and like, oh yeah, we have that all the time because it's everywhere. Yeah. Right.
But it would be like us putting the Family Guy and the Smurfs and just saying, oh, those are cartoons. Like
those are just cartoons.
They are cartoons. That's the meaning. But it would be like it would be actually be even more so being like, oh, that's live television.
All right, but you can't put like Family Guy. Okay,
is Family Guy Americanime?
Okay, no, because if you
why not?
If you show Family Guy in Japan, they'll just call it cartoon. They're gonna call it anime. They'll be like, oh, it's
They wouldn't call Totally Spies a cartoon.
Totally Spies isn't a anime. Neither is Archie's Weird Mysteries. They have the whole sweat drops, the mannerisms of anime. They have all the trappings of anime, but they're not anime. They're just American anime, right? That's it, right? And
I want to be done. I'd like to leave now. Can I leave?
Not yet. You can't leave until the show is done.
Can we all agree that there should clearly be a Canada, eh?
We have like the lamest cartoons, like Tintin. I think.
Whoa! What?
I think like Tintin is made like
in Tintin.
Like
you can't just do that. Tintin is incredible.
But Tintin is French too.
What else did we make?
It's Belgium.
We made
Belgium,
yeah.
Tintin. We made
Reboot's kind of fun and nostalgic.
Okay, Reboot is like that's completely next level. So Reboot is Canadian, like probably the best export we've ever produced.
Beast Wars.
Did we make? Oh, we did. It's all made from
Martin's Weird Mysteries. That's a good show.
Martin Weird Mysteries is also like American A, even though I think
it's just a cartoon. It's just animation. Right. Why is it?
We're gonna get into this circuitous like death trap if we go. Oh, the raccoons, Old Man Toaster. That's
the raccoons is really good.
I remember that. Wow.
So we've made some like decent cartoons, but no one outside of Canada is going to ever like, except for Reboot. Nobody outside of Canada is going to recognize Canadian created. They don't know that either. Americans don't know what Archie's Weird Mysteries are. They don't.
There's a really good Twitter thread where somebody like tweeted like every single nostalgic Canadian cartoon. There are some gems in there, and I will fight anyone who disagrees.
You tweet me later something that's like
I'll find it. Yeah, I'll find it.
You do that because like I can't like I love everything we make in Canada, and I consume Canadian content, whatever. But like, there's things that we make that no one will see. Like, what is it? Did we make Anne of Green Gables? Is that ours too? Did we make that? I feel like
it's PEI. Anne of Green Gables is like all PEI. Yeah.
Now the Japanese love that.
Do they?
Yeah, it's taught in their high schools.
They probably made an anime out of Anne of Green Gables.
If you go to PEI, you'll see tons and tons of Japanese stories because they learn it.
Oh, okay. That's something. I like that. That's nice. You guys all learned something I definitely didn't know. Yeah. But so there's like things that we've made where you're like, okay, I don't know if this people are going to ever know it outside of Canada. But like, I loved raccoons. I was a big fan of the raccoons.
I didn't know this, but Redwall was Canadian.
Oh my god, what? Really?
Yeah. Like the books. I like Redwall too. I never knew the cartoon.
Yeah, I like Redwall as well. But yeah, there's tons of cartoons that we make that nobody. Reboot is probably the most popular Canadian. Yeah, and maybe Anne of Green Gables, but I'm talking about cartoon levels.
Babar.
We didn't make Babar, did we?
I just googled it because we're talking about it, but yes.
Oh, okay. Babar might be a little.
Apparently we did.
Babar is probably like original Canadian. Like, actually, I have no clue. I don't know if people know Babar outside of Canada. I feel like that's a Canadian only thing.
I always thought it was British. I don't know where I got that.
I feel like Curious George like surpassed like Babar in terms of like childhood nostalgia. Like,
this may be the biggest. The animated version of Berenstain Bears was Canadian.
Oh my god, maybe we made more things than I give us credit for. I mean, like
that's probably the biggest one.
I think maybe it's Canadian bias. Maybe I just like I think because that's all I watched growing up. I watched every cartoon you named. That's all I watched like growing up. So,
dude, 16, Total Drama Island. I completely forgot about them. They're incredible.
What? Those?
What? I mean, what?
Total Drama Island. What?
What do you mean?
I remember those things, but like maybe I'm showing my age or something. But like I feel like those were like the tail end of just the quality.
No,
that's when like the quality of cartoons like started to like. And you're like, oh
no, dude. Oh.
I don't know. I
16 and TDI are absolutely incredible.
I'm never inviting you back to the show again.
I'm fine with that. You need to watch 16 and Total Drama Island before you get to invite me back, right?
Total Drama Island, that is like the quintessential like Generation Z television show or something that you're spouting there.
Excuse you.
Zennial. What's the one that comes after Millennial? What's the next one?
The Google site says 16, the best show to ever come out of Canada, ever, and it has tons of exclamation marks.
Was that on Tumblr? That sounds like a Tumblr post.
No, it's on Narcity/Toronto/
Oh, this is making me ill. All right, let's move to our next segment before I start throwing up because that's frightening. That's scary.
What it is.
All right, Tara, kick us off to Arts and Starcrafts. Let's see some art, real art. No.
I hope there's some anime in here.
Oh, you're killing me. Oh, that's really good.
Man, I think I'm gonna get one of these people who make Lego art on the show. I'd like to
definitely.
I want whoever did the huge graffiti thing.
Oh yeah, I did some research into it. It's like some group of people who like just do graffiti for like stores and stuff. Like, you know, if you're opening a shop and you just want someone to paint like on your geek on your walls. And
what you should do with that segment, as the things are coming up, post a link to like the page or whatever in the chat, because I want to go follow like all those people.
We could, well, like so when we post it on the YouTube, we usually put the links there. But you're right, we probably should have that the bot just like posts all the links for every one of that stuff. That's what's a good idea. I'll add it. We'll get the bot to do it.
Yeah.
But yeah, we try to do that to make sure people get to follow those artists. If you like some of the stuff there, obviously go check out those people. We put this up on YouTube so you can pause it and take a look and make sure you get it. But I like that. I love the idea that, you know, go straight from the chat. Go check these people out. my favorite one, I think, out of that one was I like that Baneling. That one is
That was crazy.
That's pretty cool.
But like, so and that's one of my favorite parts about this segment is that we get to see some of the intense work people put into just freaking fan art, right? They just love the game so much they just make these intense things. And that Lego stuff is like not even like Lego authorized. You have to modify the Lego piece. Like I don't know if you noticed, but the heads they used for the Protoss is actually heads for Lego Star Wars for, oh my god, I can't remember what their names are, but they are, if anyone is a Star Wars nerd, they are Geonosians, yes. So if you look on the Protoss for the use for Zealots, it's actually Geonosian heads, probably from the Lego Star Wars piece. So
very cool.
You have to like have some sort of creativity and you modify and whatever. And I'm hoping you can get someone who does some like Lego Star Wars on the show and tells us like, what do you do to make like this?
Oh wow, you're totally right.
Yes, the Geonosians.
Crazy. Yeah,
like what do you have to do to make this kind of stuff? Because it's obviously not Blizzard authorized. So, oh yes, I know it's Zealots. I'm sorry, I said Zealots. I've been saying Zealots for freaking 20 years. So you're not gonna get me to start now. So suckers. Too bad. I saw that in the chat. It's like, yeah, I've said Zealots for my entire life. So that's never gonna change. Yeah. So I don't know. It'd be cool to get some of that art, like, you know, to buy. I'd love some of this art to purchase or whatever.
I'm sure, like the DeviantArt and the ArtStation memers, they probably do prints, right? I hope.
I hope so. I hope so. I really do. That'd be really good. I forgot to ask in the chat. Did anyone actually figure out that it was Boxer? Or did no one notice and they just were like, whoa, it's Boxer?
You know what? I didn't know that Boxer coached League. I never knew that. Boxer, I wasn't actually in the scene when Boxer was like a thing. But
I believe that's actually the SK Telecom StarCraft team.
Oh, well, yeah. I just didn't read.
Yeah.
They have a StarCraft team. I can't remember who was on that team. I think it was him and his girlfriend.
Yeah,
Slayers. Yeah, Slayers was like a whole bunch of.
Actually, I don't know if she was on Box. I think she was.
She
just
wasn't on SKT1.
No,
she wasn't on that. It was MC that retired to coach League.
Yes.
Yeah, he did for a few years, and now I think he's commentating it. Maybe.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I know that
he's not playing League, is he?
He's always been playing. He's always played League, but he's not professionally playing.
Yeah, I was like not like.
But like the first time I ever met him was at like the first NASL in Toronto, and he was playing League between every game.
Well, that's why
everyone else was practicing. He was just
that's why he's not playing StarCraft anymore. Rip. All right, recommendations. Dave, what do you recommend people check out this week?
Staying with the Korean scene, check out I don't know how to pronounce it, but it's the Onpung StarCraft 2 Masters League thing. They're on season 3. It's got people in it like Classic Deer, Hero, Patience, Innovation, Lenok. Like it's got a bunch of heavy hitters. I always like these like really heavy hitting leagues with smaller prize pools. They've got like a $2,500 prize pool.
Yeah,
it's because you get to see these guys do strats that they're not going to do in a GSL.
So almost like Oli Moly, or
very similar.
Oli Moly,
yeah.
I always call it Oli Moly, even though I really know the real name.
It kind of looks like that. I'm not gonna lie.
Like when you look at it at a glance, I always you'll learn very quickly, and everyone who ever watches the show knows really quickly that I like sometimes just read things like a 6-year-old and just go I just go with it as it is, because that's just how I was taught as a kid to just like, what does this sound like? I'm like, Zealot. And you're like, well, that's not right. Well, Zealot. So, all right, well, it's Zealot now. So
they're also having this weekend, starting tomorrow, King of Proland. Which is an all Polish event.
Didn't the DSCL say they were coming back as well? I don't know if that was. I like the regional stuff
Yeah.
in Europe. Like when they're like, I'm trying to remember if Assembly just finished recently.
Assembly, yeah, it was like 2 weeks ago in Helsinki, and yeah, it's all the Finns. And Poo Poo won.
Poo Poo.
Poo Poo.
Poo Poo. That is
Good.
killing
PU is who won.
Poo Poo.
Yeah.
All right. Clever. All right.
One of the Discord bros in my Discord, Luolis, he was participating in that.
Oh, yeah?
I think he did decently. I think he might have been disappointed himself, but it sounded like he did really good. He got pretty well.
Yeah, he did decent map score. There's only 2 groups, so whatever. But yeah,
I love those like European regional. Man, Europe's so lucky that they're not the size of Canada. Like, damn, they get to have regional scenes, and it feels so good. I bet.
Well, Canada, like America and Canada, kind of have like their own little regional scenes. We just don't get any love.
Look, I might be the only StarCraft player on this whole island. Okay, don't tell me about how.
Have you had a Barcraft? I bet you if you hold a Barcraft, people would come.
I bet you they wouldn't. Nope, they don't even do it for Overwatch. Nope.
You're gonna tell me Newfoundlanders won't go to a bar?
Oh shit, that's racist, dog.
Just put on anything,
right? You just put anything, those go.
Yeah, I don't know. It's like starting to come up. Like I used to have so many friends that would get me to go to like league parties and stuff, but for StarCraft 2, I don't know, man.
They used to have at least like Newfoundland. I never knew of anything, but they did stuff in Halifax. They did stuff in Fredericton, but I know they still do a gaming expo in Fredericton, but I don't know if they do StarCraft anymore at this point.
Okay, so my recommendation for this is going to be PrintF's Minute Micro. It's not like an active stream going, but I've been liking what PrintF has been releasing recently, and I recommend checking out the Minute Micro stuff. Like, at first I didn't know what to make of it, but they actually are they're pretty awesome, and they legit are just a minute. So if you're looking to level up or looking for some little tidbits of information, I think the PrintF's Minute Micro series is something guys should definitely check out. Man, you know what? I'm totally. For the bot next time, we'll see if we get these recommendations ready to drop in the chat so you guys can just get it from next time. Yeah, that's what we'll do. I'll make sure we'll have the links and we'll put it in the chat so that if you're here in the chat, you can get it. If you are on YouTube, whatever, you can get them. So Minute Micro, and what was it called for you, Dave?
On Poon Masters.
On Poon Masters.
Where do we go for that? I'm really curious.
I think it was Africa TV. I close it now.
Oh, damn.
I'm pretty sure it's Africa.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Everything is.
On Poon League. Those are the best. Is that Chinese league? Or is that like...
No, it's Korean.
Huh. Cool. All right. Wrapping it up, boys and girls. Dave, where can they find you?
Here mostly. On Twitter. You can find my Twitter on a huge billboard. That I got set up somewhere. It rotates to show mine, then Cyan's, then Dragon's.
That is like the best. Yes. You know, I would put.
Where did I buy it?
I would actually put on my billboard that American anime is not anime. That's what American A is not anime. That's what my billboard would say. Just want to put it out there. That's what it would say. All right, so you can follow me, Drexama, pretty much on anything, but I usually am on Instagram, so find me there. But realistically, follow ESChamp on those things because that's where I like post for most things. ESChamp on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. Except for Instagram, it's ESChampGG because Eric Champ will one day be found, and I will force him to relinquish the ESChamp name. Until the time, ESChampGG is the place you go. And that's where all the major socials, as well as if you would like to follow our show. Does this work? I don't know. It does. So follow us. Go to ESChamp.com/follow or join. No, follow, because that's joining something else. Follow and or choose one of the shows, and we'll give you email updates of when the next show is and who our guest is and when it's coming. I find emails much more reliable than sometimes Twitter because Twitter is super fast and you'll probably miss it. Email, at least you know, put it there for a while and come back to it later, maybe during lunch or when you're supposed to be working, whatever. And then you can check it, and then you can be reminded what show and what guest we have next. And then the last thing, and before we throw out, Tara, throw us our little ad page so I can remind our great fans that this show is brought to you by the ESChamp Insider Club. The Insider Club, where it's just a fancy way for us to call our Patreon. But essentially, you get all the back deals of what makes this show tick. And we send you we let you know before all things happen. And we put you on a special email list of when we do our live events. Kings of North is coming, baby. It's not forgotten. When that comes, you're going to get in. You're going to get in and you're going to be like, VIP, baby. Best way to do that, become one of our amazing Insider Club members. So that's that. And all that helps us build this show. All these fancy graphics, you guys did it. You guys made this happen, right? If you remember Inside the Champ, that was stick figure graphics. This is pew, 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 right? Then that's what you guys did. So help us make more things that's super cool by doing that. All right. Any other closing thoughts, guys, before we wrap up the stream and we go to end music and all that good stuff?
Can I plug my socials again?
Yeah,
absolutely.
Do it. As long as it's on a billboard.
Okay, well, I'll invest in that. But in the meantime, at Cyan Esports, Twitter, twitch.com/Cyan Esports, youtube.com/Cyan Esports, and also patreon.com/Cyan Esports if you really want to be a big memer. And also, really quick, I just want to appreciate that this is an all-Canadian lineup for this StarCraft 2 talk show. I think that's really cool. And I see a bunch of Canadians in the chat as well.
Yeah.
So shouts to Canadian StarCraft. We are the best in NA.
Yeah, we are.
It's undeniable that's true.
It's true, actually. I think it's actually pretty much confirmed.
Neeb's the best player in NA, but just in general, an average.
If you took the top 10 people on the NA ladder, I think 8 of them are Canadian.
Oh yeah, for sure, absolutely. We could go through it, but I'm sure we know. Everyone knows. We already know Canada's the best. It's just the quintessential fact. Not in cartoons, but in StarCraft.
Clone High. I've been bringing up Tabs as I've been.
Oh yeah, okay. Clone High is legit.
Yeah, dude.
Wait, did we make that?
Yeah, we made Clone High.
No, that's probably why it got canceled. I liked it though.
It was such a good.
That was super good. Yeah.
Oh man. All right, boys and girls, we end the show, but we will be back with next week. Not quite sure who we have for our guests, but trust me, you'll love it. If you love what we had here, you'll love it just as much then. All right. Till next time, though, we'll see you inside the scene.
Closer.